Edwin Black, nice to have you around here. Nice that we will have you in Mexico in some days. But you're an expert on many topics, very interesting and very important for these days. The first one is something that many people ask about. What's happened with anti-Semitism and what can we do about it? Because we have an antecedent, something that happened in the Nazi Germany.
Well, you're right in every aspect of your question. And anti-Semitism, as you know, is always just under the surface,
yes,
and just waiting for the ignition switch to turn on. We've seen this generation after generation, decade after decade, century after century, country after country. October 7th was that ignition switch. And it provoked the anti-Semites or the anti-Semitic instincts of individuals who are not anti-Semites to emerge, to become loud, and to become normalized. And most of this is guided by misinformation.
All right.
That's misinformation or disinformation, which is two sides. One's a mistake and one is deliberate. And even malinformation, which is conspiratorial. And the circle of anti-Semitism has gone from small to very large, and now has spread out and infected even regular people who would not have seen themselves as anti-Semitic half a year ago. And these are people who are witless, clueless, they have no information. And so as far as they're concerned, all the nonsense about fake refugees and fake occupation is in fact true. Momentito.
Yes.
And as a result of this, it now seems like the whole world is against us. We have the Red Cross against us, the women groups against us, the climate change people against us, the gender people, all the causes that Israel and Jewish people have supported have now taken their opportunity to disregard everything about microaggressions and triggers and respect and understanding and all the humanity that Jews have helped carve out in the world. Apparently, that no longer applies to them because the Jews are not considered human by those who are standing by and watching another genocide take place.
Tell me something, but you're going to be in Mexico in these next days, and you're going to talk about this topic, but something that happened that stopped a little bit Hitler, something that they did and could be done again or can it be different? Some boycott against Hitler. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Just a little bit, just to people, not too much, because you are going to have this
first of
with
all,
Yad Vashem.
And because I've set up the case for the big danger of the Jews is being misinformation, because I specialize and devote myself to precision and to facts. The opportunity to come to Mexico and elsewhere in the United States and the world to set the record straight based on documentation, connect the dots that most people can't see. I can change facts on the ground. Our problem is most people don't have facts, and the facts they have are false. So I've got 4 events, which is the first one.
The first one is the one you are going to be at the Museo Memoria y Tolerancia.
Okay,
Mexico.
that's a beautiful museum. I was there before. Museum of Tolerance,
Yes.
beautiful museum. And I'm going to be giving Israel and international law the historical underpinnings. And because my specialty is history and facts, I'm going to give the people in the room so much knowledge, so much specificity, and it's all going to be done with visuals, live visuals from the internet, not my private collection, that anyone will be able to see this on their own.
That's going to be very interesting. I hope this is going to be the 18th of February at 12 o'clock at the Museum Memoria y Tolerancia. And with that,
And I will tell you this, whoever comes to that event, it'll be a long event, about 2 hours. Whoever comes to that event will know more information about the history of Israel, Palestine, and the Arab-Israeli conflict than virtually every Mideast professor in Mexico.
All right,
the audience will become the specialist.
And then you are going to have another very interesting conference with Yad Vashem and Mexico and Monte Sinai, talking about what we started, talking about anti-Semitism and the boycott that scared a little bit Hitler. Can you tell us just a little bit what we're going to hear there? Don't talk us about the talk.
I did not name the lecture, but I will say that Hitler was frightened. There is one boycott that Hitler feared, and it was the Jewish boycott. And a lot of people think that no one did anything in response to Hitler, January 30th, 1933. The Jews did nothing. And I'm going to lay out the exact parameters of what has occurred based on my best-selling, award-winning book, The Transfer Agreement, which is available in Portuguese and English.
Wow.
And it's also being turned into an audio book right now, just for people in Mexico to hear. So if they don't read the English, they could hear it. And one day soon, we hope to do it in Spanish. But the fact is, Hitler, the Jews did not have an army. The Jews did not even have distinguished representation. The Jews did not have an APAC. You know what the APAC is, yes?
Yes.
The Jews did not have anything except the nickels and dimes in their own pocket. But they found that by coming together and using those nickels and dimes in a different direction, the boycott is what Hitler feared. They feared the boycott more than he feared Roosevelt, more than he feared the militaries of the Allies. And that's because Hitler believed in the phony stories about Jewish power. So they said, you fear we have the power, we will use the power. And this resulted in actions by the Third Reich that ultimately led to the saving of 60,000 Jews.
All right, let me interrupt you about that, because I think people will have to come to see this topic. This very different, because I never hear about it in such a way, and it's going to be very interesting to be part of this conference that you are going in the 20th of February, the 20th, in Monte Sinai with Yad Vashem.
Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai, exactly. And tell me, but you're also going to speak with let's say kids, 16, 17, 18 years old kids from a school, from Magen David. What is going to be this about, and why is important to talk with these generations?
Okay, momentito. The first event is Israel and international law. Like
Yes.
I said, that's at the museum. The second event is the boycott Hitler feared.
Yes.
And,
That we talk
and
about.
that could have saved 1 million Jews. It did not, but it could have.
Right.
And the third event at the
You're going to talk about IBM.
Magen
IBM.
David is about IBM, because IBM organized and became indispensable to the co-planning of the complete Holocaust. And most people think that it's done by hate, but hate must be empowered. And in our case, 5 major corporations teamed up with Hitler to achieve his genocidal goals: IBM, Ford, General Motors, Carnegie, and Rockefeller.
Right.
We're focusing on, and I've written books about all of this, we're focusing on the one critical program, which is, where did Hitler get the names? Hitler got the names and figured out how to kill the Jews step by step through a knowing, deliberate, money-based alliance with IBM. And because I'm speaking to young people, and because young people have a true understanding.
Claro para todos por qué el ejército de defensa de Israel.
What was that?
Something I don't know. Something was here about it. Don't worry. Continue.
Because the young people today have an understanding of the power of technology in a way that the carbon paper historians of the last century did not. And so my book rewrote the history of the Holocaust, because it explained not only what happened, but how it happened and who helped it happen. And in this way, we can try to avoid the next Holocaust, the next genocide against any people. And this is why we are going to be having a pivotal event at Magen David. Now, I can tell you, it makes no sense to ask the Mexican Jewish community to commemorate, remember, and celebrate these tragedies in American life, in Jewish life, with Yom HaShoah and all these things. That is nothing unless they understand what they are commemorating, how it came to pass. And my hope is to empower these young people to become ambassadors of knowledge in the future, and to basically escalate their entire knowledge game when it comes to Holocaust, genocide, Israel, and it'll be a tremendous indictment of one of the most powerful technology companies in the world. And I assure you, IBM Mexico will hide in shame when I get to the stage.
Let me tell you, you're talking about that, that's important to hear you, to know about the history and to know about it, because I was in a conference about IBM talking about artificial intelligence, yes, and the power that it has. And they are creating a committee about ethics and what to do with this artificial intelligence. And the question was, why they didn't do it when it was the Second World War with this committee to prevent IBM to give them all the technology, all the names to the Nazi. And it was a very interesting.
What is their middle name?
Sorry?
IBM, what is their middle name?
No, tell me.
Business.
Sure.
So when you get the ethical committees, You know who's on the ethical committees?
No, who
The worst abusers. So basically, the guys who are going to abuse the system, and I've done a lot of speeches about artificial intelligence and anti-Semitism. The guys who are going to abuse the system put their own people on the ethical panel so that they can steer the conversation. This is in medicine, this is in genetics, and this will be in AI. How is it possible that you release a product of this power and you can't predict what it will do? Can you imagine if you released an automobile and you couldn't tell if the brakes would work? That's where we are with AI. And AI, I've had a series on the Edwin Black Show, theedwinblackshow.com. I've done already 3 episodes on the AI threat. And people said, well, 5 years from now. I said, no, 5 months from now. And AI is creeping into all of our lives right now because AI means money, and that's as far as they can see.
Just to ask you and to do something with these topics, what do you think it will be happening with anti-Semitism, with the AI in these modern times, and what we could do to prevent it?
It's too late to prevent it.
All right. What can we do now to not to stop it, but to work against it, or to work with it, or to use
Well,
it?
you will need to be able to recognize it. Right now, we have something called spam, fake email.
Yes.
And very shortly, if not this week, we're going to have fake reality. They just had a Hong Kong company just moved $20 million out to all of its different, to all sorts of devious places because they had fake AI video. AI only needs 3 seconds of your voice and face to get you to say anything. And we don't know how many pounds of dynamite are in these bombs. But AI is going to hit us. It's going to hit the Jews because the Jews are going to be implicated. You saw what happened when everybody was supporting Israel and they had that fake attack against the hospital parking lot. And within minutes, the world found their opportunity to turn on the Jews. So all throughout our whole history, we have faced and fought fake facts and fake books and fake information.
Wow.
About making matzah with Christian blood, about poisoning the wells, about the protocols of the elders of Zion. This is what we lived with our entire history. And now it's no longer being typed up by the Russian agents of the protocols of the elders of Zion. It's no longer being printed and hand distributed by the likes of Henry Ford at the Dearborn Independent. It is now global in everybody's phone, and it can take place at the speed of Google.
All right. You are putting us in a little bit complicated world, and you know, Edwin, what is going to happen after this? Hearing this, it's not very positive to think about it.
If you want positive stuff, have a dog show.
All right.
When I come to town, it's the reality moment. It's the reality moment.
Right. And tell me something. You started talking about the October 7th of October. What happened? What have influence in anti-Semitism? what is our future? What is coming? What can we do about it?
Well, what's happened is the pro-Palestinian Arab agitators have infiltrated all segments of society, especially political, like the brown shirts. These are the new Nazis. And they are convincing ordinary people and infecting ordinary processes. This emergency that you are thinking about, that you are writing about, that you are asking me about, this will not get better. This will not go away. And we don't know how bad it will become. But the monsters are out of the basement and they're not going back. And they're not just marching down the middle of the street. They're coming to our doors. They're coming to our delis. They're coming to our synagogues. They know where we live. We're under observation. They have our addresses. They've used AI to connect the dots of the Jewish community, like in Boston and Australia. And my job is to wake people up.
All right.
And,
yes.
and Jews can no longer measure themselves by how many TV sets they have, but they have to measure themselves by what they have done to strengthen the next generation. And you can mark this down in your paper. It will take a full generation to begin to repair the damage.
All right. Oof, you know, we are having just now an Congress about Holocaust, especially for non-Jewish. What will you say about to them? If you were in this Congress now, we will invite you for next one. This is online now, but next time you are going to be for sure invited to give a lecture about it. This was going to be in presence with the university that was going to help the Congress at last minute decided to cancel the Congress. So we decided to make it online. So we have many people here in this Congress. What will you
When is
say
the
to
Congress?
What?
When is the Congress?
The Congress is from this Monday that was started till this Friday.
So it's ending by the time I land in Mexico City.
Exactly. But let me see if we can do something for tomorrow. Let me see if you can do it. We will talk with them. I have a lecture tomorrow, 15 minutes. I can give it to you for sure.
Well, you have
talk
to
about it.
You have to talk to Francisco, but I would be willing to answer questions and speak the truth and give the historical stuff. Because I'll tell you something, we are drowning in a sea of misinformation and disinformation. And we need to find those islands of fact and morality and call people to join us on that new shore.
All right. And just a little bit, what will you say to these people in the Congress about Holocaust that you will leave? Just a message for them. You talk about facts that, what will you say to them for this Congress?
I will say that the Jews were alone during the Holocaust. No effort was made to help them. No camps were liberated. No tracks were bombed. And the Jews are alone today. And everyone has turned on the Jews. And we are now seeing the inheritors of the Arab-Nazi relationship and the grandsons and the granddaughters of the European co-conspirators of the Third Reich joining hands now to try to finish the job. First they said, Raus Juden from Germany, go to Palestine, and now they're saying Palestine from the river to the sea. So you give me the chance and I'll give the talking, but you'll have to clear it with Francisco because he's in charge of my mouth.
We will see. I will talk with Francisco, but first let's invite everybody. You are going to be here 18 20 and 21 in very interesting conference. Everybody has to go. We will have all the information in Diario Judío, in Yad Vashem with Francisco, and they are going to be, like we talk, very
right.
interesting and very important to be there.
Send me a copy of what you do.
Sure. And I will send you all about the Holocaust, about this event. So you will have it. And
When
we'll
is
be
your next
talking a little bit later.
When is your next conference?
Tomorrow we have holiday from.
No, I mean after this week.
After this week, I don't know. With you, my next conference is 20th of February. With you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye, my friend.
Bye-bye.